I don't wanna say anything, cause if I do I might say the wrong words. Oh no. So I'll keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I lose you if I didn't. Till we find what we're missing and compromise. So I'll keep my shoes on and not leaving. We're on thin ice, winter season. Can we find a single reason not to say goodbye? Oh, if I said what's on my mind, would you stay with me tonight? If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. Oh, would that make you run and hide? Don't know what to do anymore. I'm out of options, nothing's working. I'm out of service. Come help me now, I'm fucking nervous. I'm trying but can't scratch the surface. So I'll keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I lose you if I didn't. Till we find what we're missing and compromise. So I'll keep my shoes on and not leaving. We're on thin ice, winter season. Can we find a single reason not to say goodbye? I don't wanna say anything, cause if I do I might say the.
Hi, this is Alley Catch, and you're watching Cold TV.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to Pro Wrestling 60 Live here on Cold TV. It's been a minute since we've been on, and welcome back, Mr. B-Roll, my partner in crime, my brother from another mother. How are you doing, sir? Enjoying your pretzels?
I'm doing some Doc's pretzels.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Sensational seasoned pretzels.
Of course, welcome everybody back here to Pro Wrestling 60. It is good to be back here live on Cold TV. It feels like it's been a minute. I know it's been, you missed the last one due to some conflicting schedules, and we're glad to have you back. We're glad to be back here live. Like, just life be lifing lately. So we've been crazy, chaotic, busy. But we're so glad to have you all with us tonight on the special start time, which I think I forgot to mention earlier today, so I do apologize. But special start time here at 7:30, so we're here.
It's okay. There's been working out sponsorships, with Doc's pretzels.
Oh yeah,
And,
absolutely. And we thank you once again. We thank you all so much. And we want to give, while we got a minute here, give a shout out to all our new subscribers. Thank you all so much for the love and support you showed Cold TV over the years, and we've grown so much over the past couple of months alone. So thank you all, near 2,000 of you. So we can't thank you enough and show you our love and our appreciation for you digging and checking out what we do. Oh dear God, I'm starting to sound like Hunter. Please. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about here because a lot has happened in the world of professional wrestling. So, mister B-Roll, if you would, you want to hit us with that sweet, sweet line?
Crap, I just took a bite of a pretzel. But man, these things are good.
Don't make you
You know,
thirsty. I hope you got a drink.
I do. They really should sponsor us.
Mm-hmm.
They really should. But while I enjoy these Dots pretzel, I say the clock starts now.
Yes, indeed. And our top story this week, the G1 Climax has concluded. The G1 Climax 36, which it just feels like this just started yesterday. B-Roll, remember we had our special G1 week here on Cold TV. We had our G1 Night 1 vlog from Chicago. And through the past month, it has been magical. It has been glorious. It has been a G1 for the ages, to say the least. I've talked to a couple people about this, and this is my personal opinion on it. Like, this G1 Climax, this G1 36 is something we're going to be looking back on for years to come. And it's a pivotal moment in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know for me personally, I've always loved New Japan, but the past couple years as its transitions kind of been like, it's been different. I feel like this is finally like the turning point. This is where it's like, okay, we've arrived. And honestly, it's made me fall back in love again with New Japan Pro Wrestling. We are in a new era in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I can tell you this is the only pro wrestling company going today that can say they're in a new era and actually mean it. But this G1 has been tremendous.
When you said that again, I'm like, man, he sounds like Hunter again. But my take, I had several takeaways from this G1. One of the things I always remember about this one is that you were there for the start of it all in Chicago. So that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna chalk it up to that's like why it was so magical, because I was there night one. So I'm just saying no.
You put all that good juju like on all the wrestlers and
yes.
Yes.
And the one thing is with the G1 that I love is so impressive is they tell so many different stories. It's beyond the final and it's beyond like winning it. And we're going to break it down for you. So when we last left you, we had last covered up to night 6. So we're going to take you from night 7 all the way to the G1 final. So buckle up, folks. We got a lot to cover here.
If you were in a coma from the like when night 6 happened, like we've got your back, Jack. Like if you just woke up from a coma, like a month-long coma, like you're good.
Take notes because here we go. So starting off in night 7, big highlight on this show in B block action. Gabe Kidd one-on-one with Zack Sabre Jr. This was a night of the European wrestlers going to war because in the other semifinal, which we'll talk about momentarily, Callum Newman went up against Driller Maloney. But in this matchup here, Gabe Kidd would defeat Zack Sabre Jr. to earn those ever important points. And early on, Zack Sabre Jr., outside of his first matchup, suffered several losses. So he was kind of hanging by a thread there for a little bit. We'll kind of break that down as we go here. But we mentioned the other match. The big highlight on this show was Callum Newman going up against Driller Maloney. Callum Newman picking up a win, picking up those ever important 2 points, and showing his superiority to one Driller Maloney. So as we progress here, you can kind of see like it's fascinating to me like how we started in the middle and where we ended up with point wise. Because these guys early on, Callum Newman and Gabe Kidd, were at the top of B block, and they were there until the end, and we'll talk about that momentarily. But let's talk about night 8. Oh my God, maybe the moment of the G1, probably the most talked about. In the night 8 main event, you had stablemates from Unbound Company, Yoda Tsuji going up against Yuta Ice, the man who always wants his pro wrestling high. Well, if getting your chest fucking incapacitated and caved in is how you get a pro wrestling high, then Yuta Ice achieved it. B-roll, I don't know if you got a chance to saw this. I'm sure you've seen the highlights. I know you heard me talk about it. I believe by the end of this fight, the grand total of chops delivered to Yuta Ice was 250 something. That's unheard of.
That's not Christian.
That's a Kento Kobashi on crack. Like, what the fuck? And I mean, there was times in this match where it was just Tsuji was just chopping the shit out of him, and they literally went all over the arena. But B-roll, I have never seen a match like this ever in my life. I'm telling you, it was crazy on so many levels. You talk about going hard, brother. That's what they did. Yuta Ice took a beating, but in doing so, this was probably the biggest standout moment I think of the G1 was that matchup there, because it got, we talk about constantly going over and getting over. It got Yuta Ice over, and he was already over really with the New Japan crowd, but this was a performance that's legendary. It's one of the highlights of this year's G1, and it's going to be a highlight we talk about years to come. Yeah. And that's not even a final. That's like we're halfway through at this point. Yeah. So that was the big highlight in night 8. Just you, like you said,
I think you said probably it is probably. I mean, of course, when we get there, you're always going to remember like the winner, but like I would say, other than like. This is the moment of the G1. I think everyone's going to remember. And another big takeaway I took away from this G1 is that Yuta Ice is that guy.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And shout out to his tag partner, Oscar, who had a great performances too. But like you could just tell, like Yuta Ice is a future world champion. Like he is so over. He reminds me, like, I feel like he has the potential to be like how Tetsu Naito was over years ago. I feel like he can be that popular of a guy.
Yep, that's a great comparison.
Yeah. So phenomenal performance from both these guys on night 8, but Yota Tsuji would get the win and would defeat Yuta Ice in a absolute war. Now moving on to night 9. In the main event, Yuya Uemura would defeat Aaron Wolf in a tremendous matchup. So many guys stick out from this G1. Aaron Wolf's another one of those guys, because this is the first time we really got to see Aaron Wolf like in a one-on-one type of scenario outside of the House of Torture bullshit. Because I mean, he's been dealing with that the whole time since he's been in New Japan. So it's fascinating to see him in these like big marquee matchups. And I tell you what, he held his own. He had some amazing moves throughout. But Yuya Uemura is just on a different level. And we're going to talk a lot more about him here in a little bit as we go on here. But a huge, huge win for Yuya Uemura, picking up those ever-important 2 points. Also on this night, which was very important, especially as we move on here, Callum Newman would defeat Gabe Kidd. Now, granted, Callum Newman was kind of a little dirty there with the roll-up and stuff, but whatever it takes to get them ever-important points. And those points would be so important later on as we get to the finals of the B block. So Callum Newman with a big win there against Gabe Kidd. Moving on to night 10, back on the A block, Konosuke Takeshita would defeat Hiroki Goto in a tremendous main event. And also Yota Tsuji would pick up a big win against Ryo Owai. And that's going to be very important as we talk later on here as well. Night 11 had a war, as you could expect, between Gabe Kidd and Hanare. Probably the two toughest guys in this G1 climax, I would say.
And the craziest.
And the craziest, just beating the holy hell out of each other. Gabe Kidd would ultimately defeat Hanare to get those ever-important 2 points. Moving on. Now on night 12, one of the bigger upsets of the G1 tournament. In the main event, Bolton Oleg would defeat Yota Tsuji. to get those 2 points and to move up to the top of the A block at that time, or be in like one of the top contentions. And the thing is, man, typically when these guys, when the IWGP champions gets pinned in the G1, that's pretty much a guaranteed title shot. We can tell you this because we did report on it. Goto defeated Tsuji early on in this G1, and that matchup is set to take place in Destruction in Kobe. So after, assuming Tsuji can move past that, I would think Boltin Oleg's probably going to be next in line to get a title shot against Yota Tsuji, and that's going to be a hell of a matchup. But man, I was very blown away. And Boltin Oleg is another one of those guys this year. I really felt like it was a coming out party for him. We know how impressive of a man he is, how much of a brute he is, how much of a physical specimen he is. But he had some tremendous wins in this G1 and was in the fight till the end in competition for taking the block and get to the semifinals. A tremendous matchup nonetheless, though, there. But also night 12, you would have Shingo Takagi would stay alive and a big win against Konosuke Takeshita. Because Takeshita had been on a roll since the first loss to Tsuji. He had practically won all of his block matches, so this was his first loss since night 1. So a huge win and much needed for Shingo Takagi to stay in it. Now, on this night, we got to see our first set of casualties as the Great Okan and Hiroki Goto would be eliminated from the G1 Climax. Now, granted, just because they're eliminated doesn't mean they still don't compete. It just means mathematically they couldn't win the G1. And honestly, who gives a shit about the Great Okan? He fucking sucks. Him and Ren Narita both are pointless, useless pieces of shit. I said what I said. They can get fucked. Like, they suck. They suck. They suck. And let me tell you something else. They suck. Especially you, Great Okan. Take your Mongolian chops and shove them up your ass. Let me tell you how I really feel about him. But Goto losing to Ryo Awai and Great Okan losing to stablemate Jake Lee, causing their eliminations from the G1 Climax on night 12. Moving on to night 13. Big matchup. Callum Newman, literally big matchup. Callum Newman would defeat Oscar to get those ever important points in his block. And then also a big win on this night as Zack Sabre Jr. would defeat Driller Maloney. And this was important because Zack Sabre Jr. at this time frame was facing elimination in the block. So if he didn't win this matchup, he would have been eliminated. But CSJ would tap out Driller Maloney to stay alive in the G1. Now, moving on to night 14. Yuta Ice on the brink of elimination. He would defeat Shingo Takagi to stay alive in a tremendous matchup. This was interesting, too, because these both are stablemates in Unbound Company. However, they don't like each other. And they came out and pretty much said that. Shingo doesn't really have a lot of respect for Yuta Ice, and Yuta Ice is just after that pro wrestling high, baby. So I would be very curious to see how their partnership, if any, goes forward in the future, even though they both are a part of Unbound Company. Also on this night, too, we would see Sonata would be eliminated from G1 Climax action as well. As we're moving on here on night 15, a huge win in the main event for Yuya Uemura as he would defeat Gabe Kidd to get those ever important 2 points, because Uemura was kind of like chasing that top spot, and this propelled him over Gabe Kidd as far as in points and whatnot, so, or tied him up at least. And then with the tiebreaker, we technically go to Yuya because he's defeated Gabe Kidd. Now, also on this night, we would have a couple of big wins for Zack Sabre Jr., Aaron Wolf, and Driller Maloney. They would all win their respective matches, and in doing so, would once again hang on to mathematically stay alive as we go into the final nights of both Block A and Block B action. Let's start off with night 16. in a huge win in the main event. Because at this point, the way it was laid out, your top 3 spots in the G1 or in A block was Yota Tsuji, Ryo Awai, and Takeshita. Takeshita was in the driver's seat, so to speak. Takeshita had the most points. All he had to do was win, and he was in. However, Ryo Awai would defeat Takeshita. And because him doing that, earlier in the night, Yota Tsuji would defeat Jake Lee. Now, keep in mind, Takeshita only suffered 3 losses in this tournament, but 2 of those 3 losses, one of them was to Tsuji, and one of them was Ryo Awai. And granted, all of them had the same points because of the tiebreaker. Ultimately, Yota Tsuji would win A block, spot number 1, and then Ryo Awai winning spot number 2 in the A block. And what's all the more impressive about this, too, is Ryo Awai doing this as a tribute to his mentor, a man who we'll be talking about here momentarily, Hiroshi Tensan, who would retire on the semifinal night. So, thus, you have Tsuji and Awai advancing to the semifinals of the G1 Climax. Now, on the other side of that, a similar situation. You had in the top 3 spots Callum Newman, Gabe Kidd, and Yua Uemura. And Gabe Kidd would pick up a win in his last matchup. However, Yua Uemura would defeat Oscar, and because he had the tiebreak over Gabe Kidd, would advance to the semifinals. Now, in the main event of this night, it was an absolute war between stablemates of Callum Newman against Henare. And I can tell you what, Henare made Callum Newman, the Prince, earn that victory because Callum Newman would defeat Henare. And once again, Callum Newman would have the tiebreak over both Uemura and Gabe Kidd. So although they all finished with the same amount of points, that's why it's so important in this tournament to have those win against those top guys because Callum Newman would ultimately be B Block 1 winner. And then you have Yua Uemura being Block B winner. So going into the semifinals, we would see your Block B top winner go against number 2 in A block and vice versa. So the matchups we were left with were Callum Newman going against Ryo Awai and Yota Tsuji against Yua Uemura. But before we get to that, some big news coming out of the semifinals. This man has been talked about a lot in the world of professional wrestling, especially in Japanese wrestling. If you are a fan of Dragon Gate, you know exactly who this man is. This man is Shun Skywalker, who made his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut. He's been with Dragon Gate for years. He's virtually won every title there. And now he is a New Japan Pro Wrestler. And, of course, if you know Shun Skywalker, you know his kind of background. Who did he debut with? Yes, the House of Torture. Shocker there. So Shun Skywalker is the latest member of the House of Torture. And right off the bat, he is targeting the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television Champion Takeshita. Matter of fact, that matchup has officially been signed for Destruction in Kobe next month, where the New Japan Pro Wrestling TV title will be on the line. Takeshita defending against Shun Skywalker. I actually had the privilege of discovering this gentleman a couple years ago as part of the Collective. Got to see him at a Dragon Gate show, and I was very impressed. He was like one of my favorite guys I saw that weekend. He's a specimen, too. This guy is a very well-built individual, to say the least. So, Shun Skywalker, the latest member of the House of Torture.
And he obviously has a cool name, so
he does have a pretty cool name, and he kind of looks mysterious. He kind of looks like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction if he was on like HGH or something. If you've seen Pulp Fiction, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's talk about though the G1, this tremendous night, these semifinals matchups, and I can tell you going into this, I was so excited at the potential for what could be the final. And thankfully, New Japan would not disappoint. They delivered because, and some probably look at it as an upset. B-roll. Rio Owai would defeat Callum Newman to earn a shot in the G1 final and advance to the G1 final. This was a tremendous matchup. I think a lot of people with the year Newman has had this year thought for sure, okay, Newman's won the block. He's going to end up going to the finals. He could be the youngest G1, but
I know I did.
Rio Y proved him wrong. And man, he's just Rio Y. If you're not familiar with him, you're damn sure familiar with him now. This guy is a top tier talent. He is one of the futures of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Actually used to compete in Pro Wrestling Noah. He was a young lion there in Noah. So an interesting background for him. But let's talk about that other semifinal match. And this was, you talk about epic in a story. You've got these two generational rivals. If you don't know, Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura came up at the same time. Both of these guys, huge rivals. And for Uemura, just one of those things, could catch up with Tsuji, man. Tsuji's had his number. Tsuji's won in the Tokyo Dome and Wrestle Kingdom. He's cost him his hair. Uemura had to lose his hair. He's beat him in in title matches before. He's defeated him in tournament matches. But arguably, you could say this was the biggest matchup of Uemura's career to date, and he was able to pull it out. Yuya Uemura would defeat Yota Tsuji, the IWGP champion, the top contender in A block, and thus we would be set up with a tremendous final with Yuya Uemura going up against Rio Y to determine the G1 Climax champion. And man, oh man, just it's fascinating that that's the final, because I don't think a whole lot of people thought like that would be the final, but I think a lot of people wish that would be a final. And it's just one of those things, B-roll, where it's like these two guys, like, you know, they talk about this new era in New Japan, and they mention the Three Musketeers and stuff. And Uemura and Owai are the two guys on the outside of that, which is crazy because, like, they're two of the top guys, really. But that just goes to show you how deep the roster is now in New Japan, and with these new up-and-coming stars in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling, these new up-and-coming professional wrestlers. And both of their styles is fascinating because, I mean, they're both – it's like, yes, the strong style is there that fans are used to seeing over the past 10 years, but they've got the technique down. They've got the traditional strong style from years past. So it's interesting to see that blend, and especially that type of matchup. And I can't wait to talk to you about the final and how incredible it was. But before we do that, we mentioned the great Hiroshi Tenzan would wrestle his retirement match at the G1 semifinals. One more go in the ring against his longtime tag team partner, Satoshi Kojima. Ultimately, Kojima would get the win. But man, oh man, you talk about a guy who's had a storied career, Tenzan, a 3-time G1 Climax winner. So it makes perfect sense for him to finish his career up at a G1 Climax. A multi-time IWGP champion, a multi-time IWGP Tag Team champion. The man has virtually held it all. A huge rival of everybody from the Keiji Muta to Masahiro Chono. Was in the NWO, the original NWO in Japan. I mean, he was one of those guys that was like kind of like we mentioned with Owai and Uemura. He was kind of like one of those guys that's top guys outside of the Three Musketeers, but he was still could hold his own against those guys. I was telling you, like, this man, Hiroshi Tenzan, has wrestled everybody, like all the greats in Japan and so many great American wrestlers too. This man wrestled the Macho Man Randy Savage at Starrcade 95. An insanely long and storied career for Hiroshi Tenzan. But what a way to put a final bow and wrap it up as he is officially retired from the world of professional wrestling. I can tell you this, not only just from Japanese wrestling, but wrestling fans as a whole, we're so blessed to see his amazing career and throughout the years. But let's get to it. Let's talk about the final night. But before we talk about that huge surprise, Jeff Cobb has returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not only has he returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling, B-roll, he has shown who he's aligning with, and it's not the United Empire. He is no more United Empire. He is now with Unbound Company. Having some choice words for Callum Newman. Pretty much saying he's a little bitch that works at Hot Topic. Which he's not wrong. But I don't know, man.
The Hot Topic manager.
He did. But you know what? I'm sorry, but that young man, Callum Newman, he's impressed me this G1. He's one of my big takeaways. I would say make way for the Prince, Jeff Cobb. But speaking of which, we're not going to have to wait long.
He does look like a Hot Topic manager.
He does. And I would not want to piss Jeff Cobb off in the least bit. But that matchup is signed. It will be official at Destruction in Kobe in September. One-on-one, Jeff Cobb against Callum Newman. So that's going to be interesting. I hope the God Callum Newman can rest up by then because he put his body through hell in this G1 climax, man. But let's talk about it. He literally. And I saw it first, front and center. Let's talk about this matchup. B-roll, I can't even begin to sum up to you like what the importance of this matchup is. You talk about instant classic, this G1 final. It's going to be – it could be the greatest G1 climax final of all time. I don't know. I mean, it's up there already instantaneously. This was just a classic matchup between two strong-willed, strong-style competitors who have incredible technique and who entertained that audience in Japan for over 30 minutes. I want to throw some statistics at you, okay? This matchup literally came down to what would win, a wrist lock or a headlock. I want you to think about that for a minute. A wrist lock versus a headlock. Something we've seen here in North America that's like a transitional move, if you will. Not the way these young men do it. Like, they put such an emphasis on it, on these moves, that the technique of it, and make it so important and so valid. And to see, like, 10,000 people or whatever it was, to be so enthralled to see these guys engaged, encountering each other. It's wrestling on another level. It's just awe-inspiring. And don't get me wrong, I love, like, all the crazy stuff too as well, and all the, we see it all the time here in North America, the crazy false finishes and the multitude of maneuvers and whatnot. But God, man, you talk about a palate cleanser. That's what this match was. It's so good to see, like, just the basics, to just put it the best way I could describe it to you, it's art, man. This is art. These guys painted a Picasso in the G1 Climax final. And I'll say this is another crazy statistic I want to throw at you, okay? This is going to blow your mind. This match went over 30 minutes. You know how many times they went outside the ring in this matchup? 0. This match was contained in the ring the entire time. Folks, in this day and age in the world of professional wrestling, that is unheard of. You just don't see stuff like this. This is truly the beginning of this new era of New Japan Pro Wrestling, this new era of strong style, combining the old with the new. This is a generational matchup. This is a G1 max-up. We're going to be talking about years to come, but you would have to have a winner. And I know my heart was with Yu Uemura, but you got to give credit where credit is due to the grip. Real OI would defeat Yu Uemura with a headlock to win the G1 Climax 36. Which, and I can't describe this, B-roll. You got to watch this match. And when you watch the match, you'll see and understand why it's like, okay, the emphasis on the headlock, and you can just see like it's a work of art. It's literally a work of art. I haven't seen a match like this in years. This B-roll, and I'm not blowing smoke. This is a transitional matchup into this new era of professional wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not only New Japan, I would love and hope to you start seeing more of this style of wrestling here in the States too. This mat-based wrestling that's entertaining and enthralling, and it focuses on the elements of the sport of professional wrestling, the technique in the sport of professional wrestling. I could go on and on about this G1 final, but to say it was left me speechless and was awe-inspiring is to say the least. Have you had a chance to watch this about curiosity?
Not gonna lie, I have not, just because with the timing of it and everything. But I'll say this: a couple of like final takeaways from the finals and like the G1 in general. Um, it's almost like, especially with this final matchup, in the two guys that were in it. Uh, to me, from what I've heard about it and everything, I kind of feel like it's New Japan putting the rest of the wrestling world on notice. It's like, okay, we see what you all are doing, but it's almost kind of like we're gonna stay in our lane and we're gonna do what we do best.
Yeah,
Type of
that's the best way to
like,
put it. Yeah.
it's kind of like we don't have to try to be you. Like, we're gonna do what we do best. And then
Mhm.
the other like crazy thing for me to think about is so all of these guys that were like even like, so like large part of your final four, like we're right there, up until the very end. Like,
Yeah.
for me as a fan, like, for people that know my story, I have not been a professional wrestling fan my whole life. Uh, pro wrestling newbie, right? But I remember like almost each one of these, like their New Japan debut, or like when they were quote unquote young lions. Like, I remember it being a big deal when Uemura came back to New Japan. I remember when Suji debuted, and like it's crazy how in like a matter of like, I got so conditioned to New Japan being one thing, right?
Hmm.
The Okada, the Osprey, the
Yeah.
Naito, and then like name the name, right? And then now it's like, it felt like for such a long time, like, oh my gosh, like there's no big names. Like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And it's just proof that their style, it worked. It may not, it you may get impatient with it, but I think it's the most sustainable style of booking and wrestling.
And
Like,
it's rewarding too, because by the time you get to that point, you're like, you love these guys. Like, and I mean, and this is the thing. These two guys, this is the biggest moment of their careers, and they booked it perfectly for these to be the final two. But you have so many other guys. It's all right. We've already Yoda Suji. And here's the thing with this tournament, it did more than just like with these two guys. I think with Yoda Suji, it showed how dominant of a champion he is, and he's going to continue to be. He's still the IWGP championship. I don't see that him dropping that anytime soon. Truth be told, Callum Newman, you can't deny that young man. I mean, this kid won the New Japan Cup this year, won the IWGP Championship this year. made it to the semifinals of the G1 Climax, all within a year. I mean, that is impressive. Yuta Ice, we talked about him earlier. He is about to be a megastar, in my opinion, in the next couple years. And then it goes beyond that, too. You got guys like Driller Maloney had a hell of a run in this tournament. Hanare looked like a monster, like he is. And even guys like Jake Lee, to see his evolution in this tournament, to kind of go from that silly cartoony like gimmick to kind of get serious towards the end. I mean, everybody had their moments to shine in this tournament, and just the pacing of it, the storytelling of it, everything that come out of this tournament was wonderful. And I know I'm leaving out so many names here, but it was a huge win, and it just puts New Japan in this incredible spot. And I'm excited for the first time in a long time to see where New Japan Pro Wrestling goes from here. But of course, this final matchup, with Ryo Owai being the reigning G1, the new G1 Climax champion. Of course, it had to be our match of the week here on PW60, and Ryo Owai is our wrestler of the week here on PW60. Do yourself a favor. If you don't have New Japan World, it's only like $10 a month. Sign up for it, and just so you can watch like some of these amazing matches you can see. I mean, it's worth it alone for the final. And get ready and get yourself on board and ready for the ride, because New Japan Pro Wrestling is going onward and upward from here, and I'm so excited to see what they do next. I will say this.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they put. I feel like they do this a lot of times. Just even like the final match, like out for free on New Japan World.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, Ryo Owai has went ahead and stated that he is going to continue this unique tradition that's happened the past couple of years. King of Pro Wrestling, at that show, he is going to cash in. He's not waiting till Tokyo Dome. He's going to cash in on that show to challenge whoever is the IWGP Heavyweight Champion at that time. Dare I say this? Dare I put this out in the universe, okay? What if, this is a big hypothetical, but what if somehow, some way, Ryo Owai wins that championship, that IWGP championship, and then at Wrestle Kingdom, in the Tokyo Dome, in the main event, we could see a rematch from the G1 Climax final, see Uemura challenge for that belt. How amazing would that be? I'm just saying. But the G1 Climax was just breathtaking. We can go on and on and talk about it. That's what we talked about most of this show, but we got plenty more here to talk about on PW60. But to wrap up things here in the G1 Climax, our good buddy, the Best Scout Machine, was watching very closely to the G1 Climax and actually was able to get an interview, believe it or not, with one of the top performers of the G1 Climax. So let's go to the Best Scout Machine with this exclusive interview for PW60.
During this year's G1 Climax, Yota Tsuji wrestled Yuta Ice in a match that saw 278 chops to Yota Ice's chest, which felt like fuck ice in a way. But we wanted to see the aftermath, so PW60 sent the notorious BGM to interview Yota Ice's nipple. Yuta Ice. It's Yuta Ice. Yuta Ice. P-Dub City, it is Hiroshi. P-Dub City, it is I, the notorious BGM, and I'm here to talk to Yuta Ice's nipple. Yuta Ice's nipple. What was it like getting slapped 278 times? Ah! Fascinating. Did you do anything to prepare for all that titty slapping? Ah! Positively breathtaking. Hiroshi, do you have anything to say to any nipples that are watching New Japan today that hope to be future New Japan nipples of the future? But he has two titties. Why did he keep hitting just one? Are there any future plans for your titty? Well, now that you see it, I plan on writing a memoir of my time of being Yuta Ice's titty. From getting slapped multiple times by Yota Tsuji to all the times I've been flicked by the local dancers, and how I wish to be a dancer myself. To the time I once was nearly suffocated when they put a booby tassel on me. And I definitely hope to never ever run into evil AI-generated Antonio Inoki. It's out to get you. Antonio Inoki's lurking in the dark. You try to scream, but they take your video down because it's copyrighted, because it's Thriller. Antonio Inoki, Antonio Inoki, Antonio Inoki.
Oh dear God! Thank you so much, best guys. Is that California raisin?
Antonio Inoki.
That looks like Yuta Ice's nipples. A California raisin. Thank you for that riveting report. And yeah, that was one thing I will say about the whole G1 stuff. I don't know, like B-roll, you may not know this, but there was like a promotional package where they used an AI generated Antonio Inoki to talk to the crowd. It was fucking weird. And like, why? Why would you do that? I don't get it. But anyways, I digress. But thank you so much, Best Scout, for that special report. And don't worry, though. We talked a lot about G1, but you can still get plenty of your fix if you love a good old Japanese round robin tournament, because Pro Wrestling Noah's biggest tournament of the year is about to take place. The N1 Victory, which takes place every year in Pro Wrestling Noah, is around the corner. Action will start here in September into October, and they've already announced the blocks for both A block and B block. I got to tell you, B-roll, these are some pretty loaded blocks. Let's talk about block A. You've got Kaida Kiyomiya, Yoshika Inamura, the former GHC champion. Also, Shane Haste, which we're going to talk about him in a minute. Yuka Ino, Kazuyuki Fujita, Chen, Takashi Suguri, and Alpha Wolf rounding out A block competition. Now we focus on B block. You've got Kenta, Keno, Koge, Manabai Soya, Tetsuya Endo, Masaki Tamiya, Osawa, and Titus Alexander. Will be competing in this year's M1 Victory. One of those competitors we mentioned is Shane Haste, and he is now a former GHC heavyweight champion because, folks, it has happened. Tetsu Naito has defeated Shane Haste for the GHC heavyweight championship. Of course, he would win this title at Noah's Legacy Rise show, and now he's your GHC champion. I can't say I'm shocked by this because you knew Naito was going to get that belt at some point. But Naito, one of the most established wrestlers in all of professional wrestling, is in a very, very, very short lineage of wrestlers who have held both the IWGP and GHC heavyweight championship. Not a whole lot can lay claim to that. But Tetsu Naito is now your GHC heavyweight champion. So a lot of interesting things going on in Pro Wrestling Noah. But don't worry, if you want to get more of your fix of Japanese wrestling round robin tournaments, the 5-star Grand Prix is going on right now in Stardom. We're in the thick of things as we're getting down to the nitty gritty. To give you a little bit of an update here on the blocks. Now, keep in mind there is Blue Stars A and B and Red Stars A and B. Now, in the Blue Stars A block, Suzy Suzuki is leading with 13 points. And coming in second place at 9 is Hinoko And then Ryuka and Julia Hart with 8 points. But Susie Suzuki looking like she's probably going to walk away winning the Blue Stars A block. Now, over on B side of Blue Stars, different story. A lot closer because with a slim lead, Amy Sori is leading with 10 points. However, you have Hanan and Starlight Kid with 9 points right there in the chase. And then at 8 points, you've got Momo Watanabe and Saya Kamatani, which, God, that Blue Stars B block is loaded. So that is going to come down to the wire, to say the least. Now, we talk about Red Stars A. Leading there, you have Maika with 11 points, followed by Rina Asumi with 9 points, Itsuki Aiko and Natsuko Tora with 8 points. And then focusing on Red Stars B block, another close one, you got Konami in the lead with 10 points, being followed by Rina Yamska and Saya Ida with both 9 points, and then Maki Ito with 8 points. So we got a couple more rounds of action, but the final will be coming up here very soon. And, of course, we will have you covered here on Pro Wrestling 60 with what the end result is there. And also another tournament going on right now because it is tournament season in Japan, folks. The 13th annual TJPW Princess Cup semifinals took place over the weekend. And in the semifinals, you got to see Rika Tatsumi defeat Toga to advance to the final. And in the other semifinal match, Susumi, the current international princess champion in TJPW, would defeat Himawari. So thus, we now have a final of Rika Tatsumi going up against Susumi in the final to determine who will be the TJPW Princess Cup Tournament 13 winner. That final will be coming up here in about a week. And, of course, you tune in next time on PW60, we will have the results of the TJPW Princess Cup Tournament final. Also, speaking of Joshi Wrestling, a big show took place in Marigold. Their Summer Destiny 2026 show took place recently. And this was kind of like a big show, a big-time show, a big kind of turning point, if you will. In the main event, you had Miko Iono defeat Nagase Nosaka to retain the Marigold World Championship. Also, you had in the semi-main event a huge tag team matchup with a double return as Takumi Araya and Sari, or Spark Rush, would defeat Mayo Iwatani and Victoria Yusuke. Also, the Marigold Twin Star Championship would be retained as Twin Tower, a.k.a. Koki Amira and Chika Goto, would defeat Shino and Yuka Yamasaki to retain those tag team titles. Also, we did get to see a little bit of a surprise as well for the Marigold 3D Trios Championship, as Misa Matsua, Ryasuto, and Chiaka would defeat Mai Sakura, Arina Yamanaki, and Natsumi Shosuke. Some of the highlights from that show, of course, you can catch a replay of that over on the Wrestle Universe app, as well as you catch Pro Wrestling Noah and TJPW on there as well. So much going on in the world of Japanese professional wrestling. I mean, that's what we've spent the majority of the show talking about, but we got plenty more to talk about. But before we get to our next segment, let's go to our good buddy, Spicy Guac with a spicy take.
What is up? It is your boy Gustavo, aka the spiciest of guacamoles, on an epic adventure. Going somewhere. I can't tell you where I'm going because that would ruin the surprise. My spicy take.
Okay, we'll tune in next time to see what Spicy Guac's spicy take is.
To be continued.
Gustavo. He's a busy man. He's winning belts left and right. Hey, let's turn things now and talk about All Elite Wrestling because they had a big past couple weeks. It started with a huge show there in Arena Mexico with Grand Slam Mexico. A huge show, man. That crowd is so amazing there. That's on my bucket list now. It's like Tokyo Dome, Arena Mexico. I want to go watch a show. What a way to kick it off too with the Death Riders going up against Cage and Cope and the Young Bucks. And just that interest alone for Copeland, Adam Copeland, holy crap. So freaking cool, man. You also had a hell of a matchup between Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey as they battled for the International Championship. Of course, Kyle Fletcher would retain. Persephone would get a big win against Chris Statlander. Also, Chris Jericho, Darby Allin, and Mystico would defeat the Don Callis family. And big moment on the show, we got new trios champions as Hangman Adam Page and Bandito would defeat the Demand to win the trios championships at Grand Slam Mexico. And Will Ospreay would get a huge win against Mark Davis in the main event in a Mexico street fight. Now, moving on, talk about Dynamite from this past week. MJF would defeat Speedball Mike Bailey and Nick Wayne to earn the number 2 spot in the Casino Royale coming up at All In to determine the new number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship. We've been seeing a lot of Continental Cup action on AEW recently. As the Continental Cup series is going on, the final will take place at All In at Wembley. Advancing on, Jay White would defeat David Finlay to advance in the tournament, and a tremendous matchup with Jon Moxley and Jack Perry, as Mox would defeat Jack Perry to advance in the tournament as well. So, and because of that matchup, that trios matchup, Chris Jericho picked up a win over Kevin Knight and thus would earn a shot at the TNT Championship on this Dynamite. However, Jericho would be unsuccessful in challenging, and Kevin Knight would retain his TNT title. Let's talk about Collision from this past Saturday night. A big show. More Continental Cup action. As you would see, Hechicero would defeat stablemate Brian Cage to advance in the Continental Cup. And also Nigel McGuinness would pick up a huge win against Katsuyori Shibata to advance as well. And in the main event, Kyle O'Reilly would defeat Roderick Strong, his partner and stablemate, to advance in the Continental Cup. Little bit of towards the end of that, some controversy. Kyle O'Reilly, or I should say, Roderick Strong being a little bit of a sore loser, but all was well at the end of it. The conglomeration staying together, backpacks and all. But we now move on to the second round of the Continental Cup Classic. And this is a fascinating tournament because it's a blind draw again, so we don't know who's going to wrestle who. We'll find out here in the coming weeks as we get closer and closer to Wembley Stadium, to All In, and to that final of this Continental Cup action, which I love it. I think it's really cool what they're doing with it. Also on Collision, Hangman and Brodito would have their first successful title defense against the Lethal Twist and retain those trios championships. Forgot to mention on a big moment too on Dynamite, Swerve Strickland is back in AEW, and that's very interesting because he kind of came out to confront the trios champions, and then of course Ricochet's bald ass shows up with his group, and kind of some interesting moments there where that's going to lead to. I don't know. We'll see.
Why would Swerve confront a trio? That's weird.
I don't know. It's a fascinating because he's Swerve, I guess, because he can get by with it. But I don't know. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it is in fact a new day for Swerve Strickland being back in AEW and seeing what the competition is. So we'll see what happens. If I don't know, man, could he win the trios titles by himself? Who knows what's going to happen there? But it'll be interesting to see nonetheless.
Do you think Swerve likes pancakes?
I'm sure he probably does. I don't know what that's got to do with anything, but I don't know. The thing of it is with Swerve Strickland's like an anomaly, essentially. He's like a magical unicorn that just like a specimen unlike any other. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely.
We'll see what happens with Swerve. I'm sure whatever he does, he's going to have gold around his waist very soon in the world of All Elite Wrestling. But it's the biggest show of the year in all pro wrestling all in Wembley Stadium. B-roll, can you believe it's just around the corner? And holy crap, what a loaded card we've got already. Of course, you know the main event, one of the biggest, most anticipated All Elite Wrestling Championship matches in history. It's Kenny Omega defending against Will Ospreay. It's Omega Ospreay 3. Good God, that's worth it alone. But we also know Will Nightingale will defend the AEW Women's World Championship against Mercedes Moné. We know the tag titles are going to be on the line in a dream matchup. Cope and Christian against the Young Bucks. Speaking of tag titles, women's tag titles are on the line as well. Divine Dominion set to defend against the hometown heroes of the Brawling Birds. TNT title will be decided as well in a Falls Count Anywhere matchup with Kevin Knight putting the strap on the line against Darby Allin. And how about this one for the International Championship? A triple threat of former champions and current champion, as Kyle Fletcher will defend against Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada. We also got the Continental Cup final taking place, and that men's casino gauntlet match with number 1 entrant Andrade and number 2 MJF. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty more matches announced here in the coming weeks, but how excited are you for Wembley, my friend? Are your nipples as hard as mine?
My nipples look about like Yoda Suji's, or not Yoda Suji, Yoda Ice's right about now. I'm that excited.
There you go.
But I'm already going to go on a limb. The show hasn't even happened yet. I'm going to say show of the year. Hasn't even happened yet.
It very well could be. You're not wrong there, man. I mean, it's just there's so much potential on this freaking show. Like it's going to be. Once again, you always wonder how they're going to top it, but man, this year it's a pretty solid card to say the least. Cannot wait.
Now,
a couple weeks we'll know. Yeah.
If Will Ospreay does not win the title, that's complete and utter.
That's I don't know. We'll find out here in a couple weeks. Of course, we'll have the results for you here on PW60. Let's switch things here and talk about Ring of Honor. They recently had their Global Wars in Mexico, in Arena, Mexico. What an amazing card this was. Kevin Knight getting a win against Titan. Thunder Rosa teaming up with Maya World and Heian to take on Marina Shafir, Sky Blue, and Hikaru Shida in trios action. Hell of a matchup with Kyle Fletcher and Masquerade Dorada. Sobrano against Commander in a tremendous matchup. You can catch a replay of this over on Ring of Honor as part of Honor Club. But this was a loaded show, to say the least. It was badass. Like, if you haven't done so, check it out. It's well worth the subscription. I think you can even catch some of this on YouTube as well. Speaking of big weekends, it's crazy. We're just now getting to this, but there's just been so much wrestling action. GCW, one of their biggest shows of the year, took place this past weekend. Homecoming, night 1 and 2 this past Saturday and Sunday. And there was some changing of the guard, to say the least, on this one, my friend. First off, we have new GCW tag team champions as KJ Orso and Sam Stackhouse. Shout out to our buddy Sam Stackhouse, who we love here at Cold TV. Defeated the Busta and the Brain and are your new GCW tag team champions. Those guys have been on a roll. Like, Orso's been killing it. And I mean, Sam's a specimen. You know how we feel about Sam on here. We love him to pieces. But those guys so well deserved it. Also on this show, Joey Janela picking up a much-needed win against Marco Stunt. Because remember, Joey, if he lost, he said he was done. He was going to retire. But Janela's career still goes on. Of course, a lot of that he could thank to Flying Ryan, but that's another story for another time. The Savage Gnomes picking up a huge win. Gabby Forza and Bear Bronson, the husband and wife tandem, picking up a win against Charles Mason and Slade in a brutal matchup. That match was cool. Speaking of brutal, what about the Cholo Chain match? Of course, Vipers picking up a win in that one. You also had Otis Koger successfully retain his Ultraviolet Championship against one Anakin Murphy in a very brutal matchup. But the match of the night, the match everybody's talking about, at the end of the night, the main event, you had the GCW Championship on the line. Joseph Sawyer challenging Atticus Cogar for that title, and Atticus Cogar has had a stranglehold on that title for almost a year. Well, guess what? No more. Joseph Sawyer would defeat Atticus Cogar and is your new GCW World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, he had a little bit of help there in a shocking return that definitely had some mixed reviews. Drake Younger is back in GCW. Now, if you're not familiar with Drake Younger, he was a referee in the WWE for a period of time, but a long-time deathmatch wrestler. He said some controversial things several years ago. He did apologize. He's apologized. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We're not going to go into detail on that. But on night 2, he had a hell of a matchup as he challenged Otis Cogar for that ultraviolet championship. Of course, Otis Cogar would win in a brutal and violent match. But if you love deathmatch wrestling, night 2 is the show for you, kids. But holy shit, like, it was pretty fucking brutal. Like, that match alone was brutal, but this main event was fucking insane. A circus death match. Nino Extremo against Little Sicko. Both these guys living up to the hype and then some as far as the deathmatch community is concerned. I'm not going to go into great detail, but holy shit, that match was just if you love deathmatch wrestling, you got to check it out. It's not for everybody, that's for sure. But these guys lived up to the hype and then some, and kind of showing as the next big stars in the world of deathmatch wrestling. But Homecoming, you can catch a replay of both those shows over on Triller TV. Wrestling Revolver over the weekend had their Cage of Horrors show. And the main event was a Cage of Horrors match for the Revolver Championship with Mance Warner defending against Alex Colon and Cruel. But the big story coming out of this, Damian Chambers would cash in his golden ticket in the middle of this matchup, and he is your new Revolver World Champion as he would defeat Mance Warner, Alex Colon, and Cruel to win that championship. So we have a new Revolver World Champion. Some other tremendous matchups on this show as well. I believe you can actually catch this show on their YouTube channel, catch the replay of it over there. So go check them out. Wrestling Revolver, they always have some pretty spectacular shows. Let's talk about another promotion we've talked about a couple times here. They had a big weekend too. WXW out of Germany had their Shortcut to the Top show. To give you an idea what this show is
essentially the big match is the 30-person Shortcut to the Top elimination matchup, kind of like a Royal Rumble style matchup, if you will. But this was a big show. Had a lot of big matches and moments on it. First off, Bandito defended his Ring of Honor World Championship against one called Manders in a tremendous matchup he successfully retained. You would also see the team of Luca De Leon and Nordino defeat the badasses known as Planet Gorgia to win the WXW World Tag Team titles. The Shotgun Championship matchup would go to draw with Axel Tischer going against one Daniel Garcia. The WXW Unified World Wrestling Championship would see Ahura defeat Elijah Bloom to win that title. And also you have the European title change, as well as Dieter Schwartz would defeat Sultan to win that championship. But the main match, the 30-person Shortcut to the Top elimination match, it was won by one of the greats in the UK over in European wrestling. We've talked about her before. We love her. Kanji would win the Shortcut to the Top and thus has earned a future title shot of her choice in the very near future, WXW. And B-Roll, you know where you can check out WXW? You can actually check it out on MyAEW. That's right. WXW is one of the many promotions that's joined up with MyAEW, which is they have got some incredible companies under their banner, along with WXW and Eve, and I'm leaving out so many more. But check out MyAEW to see some great independent wrestling action, to say the least. Speaking of international wrestling, we got to talk about this. Andrade is scheduled to take on Folador Jr. for the CMLL 93rd Anniversary show.
coming up here in the next couple months. So always that's the big show of the year for CMLL. And seeing Andrade back in Reno, Mexico just feels right. What a year he's having too, by the way. Like he is just like he's probably been one of the guys to me that's just come out of left field. I feel like we knew how good he was, but just to see him get his flowers now it's wonderful to say the least. So great to see. That'll be a tremendous matchup. We got to talk about this because a lot of the people in the rest of the world are talking about this. Avery Styles, who has just recently made his debut in the world of pro wrestling, a couple months in, and he's already causing some controversy amongst some wrestlers. A independent wrestler, Eric Cannon, come out to say some pretty nasty things about the young man, Avery Styles, about paying dues. And I've heard a lot of different responses from this. AJ Styles obviously took a problem with it. It's one of those things is you got to call a spade, and the fact is, like, with his name, with his lineage, I mean, it's just one of those things. He has, no offense to Mr. Canyon, and I think it's a scenario where it's both sides are right. But the thing of it is it's like this young man's got so much more to live up to and prove. And I'm sorry if he doesn't like tear down some fucking chairs or something. Like, kind of just need to get over that, bro. But I mean, like I say, both sides are right in their opinions on this. But I don't know. This young man's going places. You can just already tell early on, like he is a specimen to say the least. And he's got some pretty big shoes to fill in the phenomenal AJ Styles. Well, as random as that is, let's go to our random moment of the week with our good friend Brian.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood of Brian's House of Random. 2 minutes of random or so. Brian's random moment of the week segment, something. We'll figure it all out. So, check this out. All right. One of the thoughts I had earlier this week was with the current G1 Climax and how a lot of the talent has shifted the focus on more of the actual Japanese homegrown talent, and a lot of the big foreign stars, like we had probably a decade or so ago, of course, have moved on to AEW, other places, and things of that sort. Then I got to thinking about this. Thinking back to when Kenny Omega won the G1 as part of the Bullet Club. And then my mind started going back a little further and a little further and a little further. And I've asked a similar question about what if the NWO did not form in WCW, which people say Bullet Club was a, of course, ripoff of the NWO. Yet again, the NWO was a borrowed idea, so to speak, from, ironically, how ironic it was, kind of like Alanis Morissette, from a faction started in Japan. So kind of come full circle, but regardless. So similar question to what if the NWO never formed in WCW? What if the Bullet Club never formed in New Japan, especially, as we know, in 2013, but then started in 2014, 15, 16, when you had AJ Styles, the Young Bucks, and all the Western talent start to help it blow up. And, of course, it blew up huge in the States with merch sales and so much more, crossing over into Ring of Honor and other promotions. So let's go in our Wayback Machine and go back to 2013, and let's just say what happens in the wrestling world all the way up through now if the Bullet Club never formed. How would Kenny Omega, would he have become a main event player in New Japan and then eventually the United States? Would AEW have even formed? What about the Young Bucks? What about Cody? What about all this and more? Comment and let me know, let us all know, what if the Bullet Club never officially formed, and what would be the ramifications of it to this day? Bye.
Man, I think that's my favorite Brian question he's done to date.
AEW wouldn't exist.
There's so many different, like, oh my gosh. You talk about, like, moments in wrestling. Like, people talk about, like, if Stone Cold doesn't win King of the Ring and have the Austin 316 moment, what if that went to Triple H or something? Like, that's right up there with that. Maybe even bigger. No, like, no disrespect. But that's a crazy good question. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. In some rounding out as we're finishing up here tonight on PW60, it was announced that AEW Wrestle Dream will be making its debut in Orlando, Florida, and that event will take place on Saturday, October the 17th. Wrestle Dream coming to Orlando. So I believe tickets go on sale here. If they're not on sale already, coming up here in the very near future. If you remember, like with AEW Tix or whatever it is, they'll have a pre-sale code for you. But Wrestle Dream going to Orlando, so it should be an awesome show. And rounding out news, unfortunate news here, but man, oh man, what a career, what a life this man led. We lost another great recently, Dory Funk Jr., the last living Funk member of the famous Funk family that wrestled, that is, has sadly passed away. Of course, we lost Terry a couple years ago. But think of it as B-roll, like Dory Funk Jr., the contributions of that man in the world of professional wrestling will be felt for way past like when our time is gone. I mean, this man, the fundamentals that he laid, the people that he worked with, the people that he trained, it's just that lineage is going to go on and on forever. I mean, you talk about a blueprint. Like Dory Funk Jr. had his hands on just about any great professional wrestler. I mean, this man was wrestling up until his like 80s, for God's sakes. We talked about him on this show a couple years ago or a year ago, having like a match in Japan, for God's sakes.
Yep.
What an amazing career. A former NWA champion, part of the famous Funk family, a true sportsman, a true pioneer in the world of professional wrestling. And although he's going to be deeply missed and we hate to see him go, man, his legacy literally will live on forever in the world of professional wrestling. We here at PW60, we want to wish the Funk family our deepest condolences. And thank you, Dory Funk Jr., who we know you're up there in that squared circle in the sky with your dad and your brother right now, having a heck of a time, probably doing a shoot match or something. So, but thank you so much, Dory Funk Jr., for the memories, and rest in peace, the great Dory Funk Jr. Well, wrestling fans, that's everything that's happened the big in the past couple weeks in the world of pro wrestling. We got so much more. The G1 was incredible. It was one of the highlights of the year for sure. But right around the corner, it's the biggest show of the year. And when we come back here in a couple weeks on PW60, we're going to have the fallout and the results from the biggest show of the year in pro wrestling all in. So stay tuned for that. We'll have more for you on the 5-Star Grand Prix, the TJPW Princess Cup, and so much more. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on PW60, and we'll see you next time on another episode of PW60. Everybody take care. Have a great week.